Hello and welcome to another episode of Seraphina Rising Astrology. I'm Sarah. I'll be your guide today, tonight, whatever time of the day it is that you're watching this. And I'm here. I'm here to talk about the new moon solar eclipse, the first solar eclipse of 2026 that we have coming up on February 17th, 2026 at 5:01 a.m., depending where you live. And here we are. Here we are, eclipse season, the eclipse portal opening up to this time that's fated, that's about destiny, that's about helping us along our highest path forward. And it is a new moon in Aquarius. And anytime there's an eclipse on a new moon, it's a solar eclipse. It makes it even more powerful because the moon darkens the sun. Now, this one is an annular eclipse, meaning that it's only partially blocked by the sun. And so it leaves a ring of fire around it, which is so intriguing that there's just so much fire energy coming about. It's not by accident that this new moon is the day that we start the year of the fire horse in Chinese astrology or Chinese zodiac. Um, and also, it's when Neptune and Saturn have moved into Aries, the most fiery of fire signs. And just 3 days before a very pivotal moment in our lifetime, which is Saturn and Neptune right on top of each other at 0 degrees of Aries. And I will make another video on that, so stay tuned. But yeah, I'm going to keep it short tonight. It's nighttime for me. Um, and there's so much, like, I want to share more about my lessons and how I'm experiencing Saturn already because I am a double Aries. And so Saturn's coming for me. I've been feeling it. I've been feeling it since last year because we got a dose of it last year in 2025. But again, I'll talk more about that in another video. But I'm an Aries. I love to start things. I don't always finish what I started. But Saturn is really already helping me to mature in this way of like, just do it. So here we are. Here we are. And we're doing it. Even if I don't feel ready, even if I'm like, oh, I should have posted it this time, whatever. We're here. And as always, I have a few notes that I'll look at here and there. So, this new moon is so when anytime we have a new moon, it's when the sun and the moon are conjunct, meaning they sit right next to each other. And it's at 28 degrees of Aquarius. So the 28th degree is also about endings, karma, maturity, mastery, right? We're entering the end of Aquarius season. And so yeah, I think all of that just plays into just all of these cycles that are completing themselves, new cycles that are beginning. We're really in this transitionary phase, and I like to now call it liminal space. Someone helped me with that. I think it was last year where I was feeling that. Um, and so also know that, yes, we're going to feel this energy of like shifts, changes happening. But we don't need to like dive right into things. And honestly, on eclipses, it's best to kind of just sit back and observe and let it all happen, because eclipses deal with destiny and fate. And so when we try to mess with destiny and fate, it doesn't work. It doesn't work out well, you know? So it's best to just sit back, get your popcorn, and just observe the changes and the shifts that are going to occur. Solar eclipses tend to change external things, where lunar eclipses tend to change internal things. Um, so there's a lot of collective shifts happening. And this eclipse, like I said, is not only the first of this year, but it's the first dose we're having of this eclipse with the Aquarius energy. Now, the nodes of fate won't change until a little bit later in this year, but we are getting a dose of what we're going to experience together during this time. And so, this eclipse portal, if you will, is going to be open until March 3rd, when we have a total lunar eclipse in the sign of Virgo, which I believe will be our last eclipse on the Pisces Virgo axis. So it's almost like we're getting a dose of what's to come. And then that one is going to be like wrapping up things that we've already learned from last year until now. So, annular solar eclipses open new pathways and states of consciousness into our reality, which is very Aquarian. What is dark can become illuminated, and the moon passes between the sun and the earth while the moon is at its furthest point. And so, yeah, it makes this ring of fire around it. Um, this is a turning point. You know, annular eclipses are known as turning points and breakthroughs. Sometimes it can feel like a breakdown if we're not utilizing the energy or not managing it well. You know, part of me was like, write notes. Another part of me was like, just fucking go. Just fucking go. Just, you know, this. Because a big lesson that I'm learning, something that's completing itself for me in this year of the snake, in this Piscean energy that we've all been experiencing and moving into this Aries energy and into the year of the horse. I also happen to be a horse in the Chinese zodiac. Is doubting myself, is getting too much in my head and not in my heart, not in my intuition. And yeah, you know, the more I study astrology, it's like I have a sixth house stellium. My son is in the sixth house. So I want to get it right. Am I doing this right? You know, but like it's time to just step out of my own way, to be seen, to be visible, and to like really trust my instincts and my intuition. So I'm going to do my best to just speak from the heart and look at my notes here and there. And I'm also doing my best to keep this a little bit shorter. So Aquarius is the revolutionary, the genius, the truth sayer, right? Aquarius is kind of like, I'll say what needs to be said. You don't want to say it, I'll say it. You know, and I think it's so interesting with all of these truths that are being revealed in the collective, right? Because also Aquarius in the highest form is the humanitarian. They're the ambassadors for humanity. And so it's like bringing about these revolutionary ideas and saying the things that need to be said for humanity to continue to evolve and to come together, because Aquarius also loves community, you know? And I think we're seeing a big shift in that. And Aquarius also rules like technology and astrology. Um, but I think we're seeing, like, I've noticed it in my own world. I was a part of an online community with Mark Groves, and he's been going through his own journey and all of that and wanting to bring community back to community, right? So I do think that this eclipse could be bringing about even more change with that. You know, it's like technology is such a beautiful tool, and we've used it too much. We've relied on it too much, right? Especially with these like generations to come, and we're forgetting what true community is, what true just seeing people at the store, asking how their day is, you know, giving someone a compliment, um, gathering in person together, you know. Obviously, it's so great to be able to have technology to connect us, you know, without any space or bounds. And so I think it's just about balance, just like anything else. And using it in a way that's going to fuel our evolution and not push it down. Because we're seeing the rise of AI and all of that. And again, it's a great tool. I'm not going to, I mean, that's a whole nother conversation, but I'm not going to say that all AI is bad and all technology is bad. Absolutely not. They're great tools. But as humans, we sometimes take a tool and we use it as a crutch. And what's the difference between a tool and a crutch is that if you're leaning on a crutch, right, and that just goes away, you fall, right? But if you're using a tool, you are in control of it. You're using it. You're able to just put it down. It doesn't throw off you and who you are and your balance. So I think this could bring about some changes with that, where we're not using it as a crutch, maybe where we're being a little bit more honest with it. Like, how many things are we seeing all over that are AI generated that aren't even telling us that it's AI? And I just want to be informed if it's AI or not, right? We just want the truth of it. So the truth of technology, the truth of AI, the truth of just the world in itself. And one aspect to this new moon solar eclipse is that it's making a square or an aspect of tension to Uranus, which Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. And a little bit of history about Uranus is that it was discovered in 1781. I don't think I wrote that down, but if I'm remembering correctly, 1781, and it was just before the French Revolution. And so that's not by accident. So Uranus itself is this planet of revolution, of upheaval, of rapid changes. And it was also the first planet to be discovered via telescope, which back then was technology. So again, that's why Uranus is so like revolutionary, Aquarius, technology, it all blends together. But I think it's not by accident either that this is squaring Uranus